Hi, I'm Jerry Parisi, and welcome to tonight's edition of the Long Island Filmmakers Show. The first thing I have to say is the Filmmakers Show has to apologize to its audience because I personally forgot the titles of the shows tonight. But we have some great guests, and my first guest is Michelle Sharduli, who is not only a wonderful actress and model, but she has a nonprofit organization which actually has a great wealth of film equipment. And Michelle, come on. Start telling us right away what's going on.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
I am so happy to have you here, and your dad has been such a part of so many filmmakers' lives as well. But please, tell us what's going on and start right on in.
All right, absolutely. We won't start with the pieces yet.
All right.
We'll start with
I do like the toys, though. They're
I
cute.
know, they're fun. I just do that at home. I'm just like...
So good.
So we have a lot of film equipment that we rent out at a low cost. It's called the Low Cost Equipment Access Program. And the goal is to help support filmmakers because a lot of them don't have the budget like Michael Bay or anything. And I also just want to start out by saying that, you don't need a huge budget to make a great film. And our goal is to support filmmakers and to basically provide the film equipment that they need, whether it's cameras, lighting, we have silent generators, we have all the audio sound system. And we want to give our equipment at a low cost for filmmakers.
So basically, an individual who needs or would be able to do a movie or a TV show or a commercial or even anything, a documentary, would simply call you guys up. And I know you have a truck.
Oh, yeah, we have a box truck, and it is for rent. We could take everything out, and they could use it as well.
And you're a nonprofit, so that's important for all the different things on Long Island as well, because so many people make different films here and there, and they never seem to have the right equipment at their fingertips. You know?
It's true, and we have so much equipment that so many filmmakers don't know about.
So you've got a wealth of historical equipment too. If I'm not mistaken, you had one of the early, not a Panavision, but before Panavision.
Yeah, we have the camera that shot Rocky, and it's a 35 millimeter camera, and some filmmakers still like it. Martin Scorsese is still using 35 millimeter.
What is it called, that type of camera?
It's actually a offhand, it's putting the pressure on me.
Don't feel bad, I forgot the credits tonight.
It's the pressure. It shot Rocky. That's what I'm so excited about.
Okay, it was a good camera, shot Rocky.
And it was 35, and 35 millimeter. And it's heavy. It's so heavy.
It's a heavy camera.
It's a heavy camera and shot Rocky. That's all you need to know, really. That's all you need to know.
So it's all you need to know that this camera shot Rocky, and it was a heavy camera.
And it was just really heavy.
So the lighting equipment. Tell me about some of that. How does that?
Yeah, absolutely. We have Arri lights. We have Mole Richardson. And we have tons of different lights that, if there's a filmmaker who may not need the whole big lights, they could call and be like we need 1 or 2 lights. We would still provide that for them, so they don't need a whole bunch of lights. And
that's really special because, I mean, a lot of times a filmmaker working on a shoestring budget is really, their heart and soul is going into it, and a lot of people aren't even getting paid for things like this, but in order to get that portfolio, that trailer, anything they need to do to visually show the investor or anything else, they can still get everything without even going on a limb and get something done.
Yeah, absolutely. And they could come up to me all the time and they'll be like, you know what, I don't have a budget, because I hear that a lot for filmmaking, but that's okay. And I'm like, do you really need like 1 light just to make the shot? And they're like, please. And I'm like, yeah, and that's what we're here for, to support them.
That's interesting, and it's important for filmmakers to know that you're available to them, because in reality, in our industry, one hand washes the other, they both wash the face. And the truth be told, if you're going out on a limb and you're loaning out something here and there, well, when that budget is made, when an investor kicks in for the line item budget to work and start preparing that movie, well, they should be wise enough to know what fed them to begin with is your company, and they can come back out to you as well.
Yeah, and we have a great relationship, whether they, need it for a week or a month or a day or an hour, And even though we're the Long Island Motion Picture Arts Center and Museum, if you need to take our equipment out, over, into the city or anywhere else, they're more than welcome to.
And your father's such a mild man. you're a product of both beautiful people. Your parents, I happen to know them.
And I actually have a funny story that my dad tells me all the time.
Let's hear it.
And I love to tell it. What happened was when he was starting out the organization, our first, and I wasn't born actually, but our first person who rented out our flatbed editor, which I didn't even know when my dad was telling me the story, he was like, guess who rented out the flatbed editor? I'm like, I don't even know what a flatbed editor is. It was actually Ben Stiller,
really?
an NYU student, and he came up to my dad. He needed a flatbed editor, and he was the first person to rent out our
that is an
equipment.
interesting story. That's
Yeah.
great. Now, I want to veer away from the movie equipment for a moment. You also do something else. You have this giant, huge blow-up screens.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not the only one that's blowing up the screen. It's I know, right? It takes like so many days to blow it up. But yeah, we have different size inflatable screens. We have a 24-foot screen. We have a 30-foot screen, and then we have a 40-foot screen that's used for drive-in movies. So we're bringing back the drive-in movies.
So if I theoretically had a field and paying customers, or not even say paying, let's say senior citizens, and they were being driven by a little bus and they were going to sit in a park under a beautiful 75, 80-degree night, it was clear, you could blow up this screen and they could sit there, and how do they hear it?
And I missed the weather, by the way, after thinking of the image of being outside. But yeah, what they do is they sit in cars, and we hook up a FMN transmitter.
Oh, okay.
And they hear it inside the cars, and it's so funny because you know, I was kind of in the end of when the drive-in movies, the last one was in Westbury.
Right.
So the last movie I saw was Air Force One. And I remember it a little bit, but then you have, you know, kids now when we do the drive-ins, they're like, this is a great concept. And, you know, they didn't know that they've been around.
They didn't realize it existed, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, they're sitting in their cars, they're taking away their iPads and for a minute, you know, and watching a movie. And, yeah, we hook it up with the FM transmitter.
And it's obviously got a white front or some sort of a good reflective, let's say, thing where they can see it. Or is it inside projected out?
Yeah, it's actually a huge screen, and it's like a regular movie theater, the image right in the front, and they could see it. And it actually goes really far out. We had like so many cars, at least over 200 to 300 cars seeing Frozen last year.
Oh.
And yeah, it's just a typical outside drive-in movie. Bring in the cars. We have a 1890 vintage style popcorn machine with it.
Wait a minute. Do you go around on roller skates? I just wonder.
I know. I wish I did. You know, that would be so much fun.
But I remember drive-in movies, and I'm not that old, guys. Don't let this fool you.
Don't let the gray
hate
hair.
This. But I would have to say that I remember there was a hump. So you drove your car up a slight hump that gave you a little bit of a height to it. Okay, so if this was a screen, the car was up like this, looking at it. Oh. That's what I remember the Valley Stream one when I was a little boy, because I really didn't grow up in Long Island. I'm a city kid, but coming out to Valley Stream, well, we're going to Long Island, big deal, right? There was like nothing there. That's what it was, and the little metal boxes you just hook on there. So
yeah,
the difference is you run the radio.
Yeah, we do the radio, and there's no like any of the speakers that hung outside the car. And what we do is, you know, we tell them the channel usually is like 99.3, and we have it advertised on the screen. And our screen is actually really high up. It's 8 feet off the ground, so with the projector.
Oh, so you don't even have to have
that.
Yeah,
so many people for the drive-ins, they bring in their huge SUVs because, you know, it's per car load. So, you know,
sure.
yeah, you have like 10 kids in the car, you know, some are in the trunk, some are not. But it's just like, it's so many kids in one car.
Some kids are in the trunk.
Some kids are on the roof. I'm like, how'd she get there? But it's just like there's so many kids coming in. There's like tons of kids coming in, and they love it. And,
So
yeah.
I still have to ask you, though, where's the movie projected from?
Yeah, we have a huge projector.
Oh, does it go in the back?
Yeah, no, we actually have the projector about 20 to 50 feet in the front, and there's a huge projecting booth. My dad sometimes, when I do it, it's fun. It's a huge projector, and it's massive, these projectors. They're really heavy, and the image right on the screen, beautiful HD.
How does that get there? By the truck? Your
Yeah,
truck?
box truck. We put everything in the box truck, including like 3 people packed in the front. I mean, it's just like our box truck, if you open it up, you can't even, it's just so much equipment that we have.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's really a lot of equipment.
So really, you could turn around with your company or your nonprofit company. I want to highlight that, nonprofit. What you could do is go in there, rent for an extremely low price, especially if you're a student, make your movie, theoretically advertise your movie, get a blow-up screen, advertise it's going to be on the screen, and have your own showing.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely could be used for like a film premiere, and it's so different. I mean, our winter this year was horrible, so the idea
It's still
of just
winter now.
yeah, no, it's true, it's still winter. It's very icy out. But yeah, no, I just love thinking about something different, and the outdoor movies is just so different because you could go to a movie theater right now in the winter and just like watch it. But,
Right. And then,
the summer's coming up. You want to be outside. You want to take advantage of the
nobody wants to be
outdoors.
outside more than me.
Oh, yeah,
I
it's
love
just-
that.
yeah.
So what are some of the places that you've actually had your huge screen and movie working? Parks or
Yeah,
beaches?
we work with the town of Babylon.
Town of Babylon's very good.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
good.
the town of Huntington. We do it like right on the beach, Crab Meadow Beach.
Oh, okay. I know Crab
and-
Meadow
yeah,
Beach.
so it's like we do it like literally right on the beach. And it's really neat because the kids could also, if they're getting bored or just, want to just take a moment, we do like a little break a little bit so they could go get concessions. But they run on the beach, then they play, they build sandcastles, they come back. I mean, like, the locations are wonderful, especially for drive-in movies right on the beach. We also go out to the Hampton, Southampton, Cooper's Beach, and we do a drive-in movie there.
Wow.
Yeah, and just it's so funny how many times I played Frozen. Like everybody last year wanted to do Frozen, and we got a really good turnout for that.
Oh. So you must really put joy into a lot of people's hearts, one way or another.
Yeah, and even before the movie, because you could only show the movie when it gets dark. So we play music, we have little fun games that we do. I mean, it's just like the kids, and Let It Go, they sang so loud. We had like so many kids sing Let It Go when we showed it. And it's just like, it's such a fun, entertaining, event for kids especially, and even adults. And also to feature, we are a traveling motion picture museum. So
Yeah, let's talk about these toys.
yeah, and also, because I was going to kind of throw this in, was we have a life-size figure of E.T. And what we do is when we show E.T. outside, we bring in our life-size figure of E.T. And before the movie, parents and the kids could run and see E.T. before. And it's like, it's a
Wow.
great tie-in. So it's
Before we get
different.
to the toys, I want to ask you about you. You're a model and an actress. Tell me about you. Everybody probably wants to know. They're all watching you talk. I'm sure you've engaged about a good couple of thousand at once right now. So tell us about you.
Yeah, I mean, I really got the passion from my dad. My dad worked at ABC Channel 13, and when I was a kid, I would go to the studio. I met some really wonderful people like Peter Jennings, and I would go overnight when I didn't have school, and I would watch my dad in the studio, and it was just so exciting for me. And I definitely have to thank my dad for the passion of that. And, I would see him, and he would write scripts, and, he'd be like, this is a part for you. And he's still, like, writing, and,
great.
that's how I really got into acting. And I saw his enthusiasm for it, and I was like, I really have to follow in the footsteps, and I love it. And, I did modeling. I was a finalist for Miss Teen New York in, high school, and I really like the acting aspect as well, because there's so many different roles, and it's just like filmmaking is where my heart is. But this nonprofit helped me kind of venture out to do so many different things as a filmmaker.
You know what? First of all, let me explain to people you're not only 14, right?
I mean, my voice may sound 14. Every time someone calls,
No, you're
I'm like,
not
wait,
14.
I'm not 14.
No. But you are seasoned and you've been working. How long has your dad been away from ABC?
He's been away good, I would say about 13 years.
And he worked at 7 Lincoln Square?
Yeah, he worked at Channel 13.
So that means he
ABC.
probably knows my good friend of mine named Donnie Dodson. I have to ask your
Yeah,
dad
you have
later.
to ask him later.
I'll have to ask him.
Yeah.
So tell me about some of your modeling world, and let's go into your toys.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked also with modeling, and it's funny, as a kid, like it was very exciting. Like when I did the pageant, it's a lot different than film because
Sure.
everybody is there and they're watching, and it's kind of like nerve-wracking. But then I did theater because I was like, oh wow, I could just like if
Sure
I
you
could walk
could.
in a room. So I did theater, but I really liked modeling as a kid, and I loved film, and I worked a lot on independent films as a kid too. The Signs of the Cross I did.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, it was exciting.
You know, that's pretty impressive. That's good. You got a colorful life in front of you, and it's very interesting. And you're still so young. I love that about you.
Yeah, and I
you know?
hope to do a lot more in the future.
So now tell us about the
Absolutely.
toys.
Okay, so as you could see, we have a James Cameron theme going on here.
Okay.
But this is the original vest that was worn in the 1997 James Cameron movie, and it was worn by an extra. And an interesting fact is the movie Titanic was actually shot in New Mexico, where the water was really warm. And this is an original piece from the James Cameron film that the extras wore. And this is going to be a part of our museum. And we also have like 30 feet of the Titanic boat deck as well.
Really?
Yeah, so we're excited to get a building to actually put up 30 feet of the Titanic boat deck. But this was portable, so I figured I could bring that
It's
in
portable,
tonight.
yeah.
So, I could wear it here. I'm not a swimmer, so.
No, that's okay.
But this is the original piece that the extras wore.
That's
And it's
amazing.
interesting.
And what's this cute little camera here?
This is from Europe, and this is from 1906, and it's a hand crank projector. And it's really heavy too.
It's a real projector?
It's a real projector, and it's from 1906.
You mean like the little crank spins?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Spin the
try to
crank.
show you. It was working, but hold on, I'm gonna do it from this way.
Yeah,
and it's from
probably 'cause-
1906, and it's a hand crank projector. But yeah, if you could see.
I can
and
see.
it's really, really heavy.
Yeah,
and
I
it's,
see
and
it.
it's from Europe and everything.
That's really nice.
Yeah, from France.
And what do we got down here in the glass case?
Here is the Heart of the Ocean necklace.
The
But
heart.
it's a studio replica. It's not the real.
Is that the one
But-
in Titanic where they threw it over?
Yeah, they threw it over.
Oh,
and we
wow.
ran into the ocean and got it back.
Well, you said you weren't a swimmer, so it must
Yeah,
have been your
no.
father.
Yeah,
that
my
got
dad.
it.
I was like, you know what, Dad? I don't really need you, so you could just go in. But yeah, this is a studio replica.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful piece.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's
I'm
great.
whistling on the air
And
here.
sometimes I like to wear it.
Do you really?
No, I would. I should. I really should
You
wear
well,
it.
you would, you should, you could, but you
I
don't.
should, but I
Why?
don't.
I don't know. And what's this?
This is from the Titanic, and this is the first class plate that apparently no one ate off of because it's very clean.
Oh, wow. Is that a real plate from it?
Yeah,
The real
it's
Titanic?
well, no, it's from the James Cameron.
The movie?
Yeah, the 1997.
Well, I'm going to bet any amount of money that with the budget they had, that had to be very faithful to what
absolutely.
the real ones might have been
definitely.
like, you know?
They were real. I mean, that Titanic, the movie, they did a lot of detail with it and everything. So this is the piece from it.
So they shot it in New Mexico.
Yeah. And the water was really warm, and and that's what I tell a lot of my students, because I also teach filmmaking.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, for children.
Let's hear about this.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. And this is also the
Okay, this is a lifeboat in the Titanic.
lifeboat from
That's beautiful.
1997 James Cameron.
This is like a
film.
G.I. Joe size. You
Yeah,
know?
and you
if
can
I had a
actually
G.I.
take
Joe
it.
right now, I could actually
And you
do
could row, and it's just, it might not do very well.
very cute, you know,
Yeah.
very nice.
Yeah.
So tell me about your classes now.
Okay, yeah. So we're done with the museum, and we also have a film arts center, and it's traveling.
Where?
So we go to schools, we go to
Uh-huh.
libraries.
Right.
We actually put together last year a film camp at Malloy College, and we're going to be doing it again this year as well.
Really?
And it's at the Madison Theater, and it's for children and teens, and they learn about filmmaking, and they also make their own movies. So we start from the basics. So we do everything from script writing, from storyboarding, to the kids actually learn how to do lighting, and they film their own movie.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
And do you use film or video for the?
Yeah, no, it's a film.
You actually use 35
Yeah.
millimeter?
No, well, the kids actually wanted to do the film 35 millimeter, but we only had 3 weeks last year, So we were like, it's so time consuming. So we did the HD cameras
Right.
with it.
Because 35 millimeter film has got to be expensive.
It really is. That's why a lot of filmmakers are kind of cutting back because, it's when you have a digital, it's
when
so
you have
much
the red
better.
camera.
Yeah, it's true. But I mean, some filmmakers like it because they like that 35 millimeter.
Well, the grain,
yeah,
all
the
of
grain
that
it.
feeling. I know.
Yeah.
That was the big deal. Was they feel less artisticness
Yeah.
when videotape first came out.
No, it's true.
And funny, the same thing in the advertising world. When the Macs came out and all the agencies started using Macs, well, I was one of the ones who made the transition. But I could draw like this if I had to. I could draw letters like this.
It's a
I
great
could
job.
well, I didn't draw that. That I did on the Mac. But the point is, I could draw like that. And then most of the art directors back then, I was only an art director back then, they, not me, I didn't fight it, they fought more because they felt that it wasn't art anymore to use a computer. Art has to come from your hands.
Yeah.
And to show a comp to a client, if this was a comp, let's just say, I would have these things all drawn in, I would have them hand drawn, and I'd come back home the next morning. It'd take that long to do it, but it would look this close.
It's true. I mean, like, it's funny. My dad is like, old school with
Right.
like drawing and everything.
Sure,
so
sure.
I kind of learned that, the art field from it.
Well, it's interesting. It's a great
Yeah.
field, and you know what? It's sad in a way that that art has been taken away. Like retouches. I worked, when I was a little boy, right out of art and design, I worked with retouches. And the first thing they'd make me do as a little boy, right out of art and design, is like, go fill a retouching water bowl. But I'd sit there and I'd watch them mask with an airbrush at a flow so fine. But that was real retouching, not like Photoshop where you just hit a couple of buttons in it. However, the drawback was you'd smell that paint. You'd know it. So I guess that's what your dad's feeling when he talks about the
and
old
actually,
school.
speaking of art, and this
Ah,
is like
speaking of art.
it's just popped over here. This is an animation cell.
That's a cell, right?
And I actually show the kids this. It's Peter Pan and Captain Hook, and I always tell them, oh, what's missing from it? Because we also teach the children line animation.
Right.
And they're drawing on professional 35 millimeter film, and they
Right.
make their own animation. And I always ask them, I'm like, what's missing in this picture? And a lot of them guess it. It's the background.
Of course, it's the background. That's how it
Yeah.
worked. The background was stationary.
Yeah.
The cell, which is that's on a cell, was hand drawn first, and then later inked in, and then painted.
Yeah, and it's funny because we teach the kids line animation. We teach them movie special effects with the
Wow.
green screen, and we have them flying through Long Island. We put out a magic carpet, and we superimpose images from Long Island, so they're flying. And we do Jurassic Park, that they're in the
wow.
scene of Jurassic Park. We do Harry Potter, and that's all our movie special effects program.
That's interesting. And you mentioned green screen. Now that seems to be, in some cases, people love it, and other people say use it only when necessary. Michelle, what's your take on green screen? You know a lot about it.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think it's funny because a lot of times, like when I'm working with children and their movies, a lot of them are like, we want to do this and we want to fly, and and they get so creative that where I'm like, oh, I really have to take out the green screen now because like it's in a kid's mind they want to do all these fascinating things, and that's when I use a lot of the green screen when they're flying. I mean, it depends with an older kids when they're making their film and it's all character driven. It really depends on like the storyline of what they want. But a lot of kids, when I work, with the kids, I take out the green screen because that's the imagination is so wild.
Let's jump to computers real quick. We've only got 2 minutes more.
Wow.
But don't think I'm not going to have you back, because I'm going to have you back.
Well,
Trust me.
thank you for having me.
With the computers, do you work in After Effects?
We do. It's funny, with our film camp, we only have 4 weeks, so it's so time consuming. That's why we do.
Can you do After Effects?
Yeah, I probably could.
I'm really going to use you now.
Yeah, no, I definitely could.
And do you work in Final Cut too?
Yeah, we do. We have Final Cut, and that's what I've been teaching the
Tommy!
kids.
Hi!
Hi! No, but yeah, we do a lot of different things.
That's incredible. You know what? I want to do more After Effects. I haven't gotten into After Effects enough yet.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I have to do. That to me is a great thing. So I know we're going to be using you more.
Okay, sounds wonderful.
I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight on the Filmmakers Show. I again have to apologize for the lack of credits. That's just not my fault.
okay. Totally
But
okay.
I promise Channel 20 will have them in place when they do. So I am Jerry Parisi. My wonderful guest tonight was Miss Michelle Sharduli. She is the co-chair and nonprofit for film production. What is the name of your company?
It's a long title, so don't, it's the
No, go for it.
Long Island Motion Picture Arts Center Museum.
So it's the Long Island Motion Picture and Arts Center Museum. Did I get that right?
Yeah, and if you don't remember that, you could just say Limpacum. And
Limpacum.
It's so weird.
It's
like
easier to
losing
say
it.
the Long Island
Yeah.
Motion Picture Arts and
It's like when I'm making phone calls, I'm like, I'm Michelle from the Long Island Motion Picture Arts Center Museum. I'm like trying to make sure the name is really fast. So.
That's amazing. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We'll see you. If you're watching us on Madhouse tonight, we'll see you in a few minutes for our second show. If you're watching Channel 20, we'll see you next week. We look forward to it. One way or another, keep the Filmmakers Show on your dial or on your computer, and you'll learn a lot of different things from the wonderful guests we bring. I'm Jerry Parisi. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, guys. I actually forgot the titles of our show tonight, so I have to apologize. But with that, you're watching the Filmmaker Show here at Madhouse TV, or if you're watching me on Channel 20, you'll enjoy it even more because it's on your TV screen. I said that wrong. Anyway, I have a wonderful actress with me tonight. I know her for many, many years, and we've done many scenes together, and she has been on the radio for an insurmountable amount of years. And with that, I want to introduce to you Miss, I was going to say KT Mills.
Well, that was my stage name, not anymore. I've embraced my real name, which is Vesta Millard.
Vesta Millard.
Yes.
That's right.
That's
and
right.
you don't know it, but so many things you watch on TV or hear on the radio is still your voice. What blew me away is I was doing some editing on some of our own shows and realized here at Madhouse TV, you're here too.
I'm already here.
You're already.
I live on in infamy, believe it or not.
You are an extremely, extremely accomplished actress.
Thank you so
and
much.
I've had the pleasure of working with you on commercials. I've had the pleasure of working with you
Dramatic scenes.
dramatic scenes. I've had the pleasure of just watching you do voiceover work.
Well, thank you.
You are like a goddess.
Oh, well, actually, Vesta is the Roman goddess of fire.
Is that right?
Yes, and I was named for a great aunt, but that is literally what the name means, Roman goddess of fire.
Jerry's actually the Roman name for mud, for getting his title.
Oh, I forgot my credits. No, I'm hoping maybe. You know, I happen to be blessed to be doing 2 movies in the month of February.
Whoa.
One is a short film.
That's great.
And the other is kind of a sci-fi comedic take on the zombie phenomenon, which is, you know, sweeping the world.
Really?
And I was hoping that I could
Yes.
twist your arm. And maybe you would read a scene.
With you?
Yes, that would be awesome, from one of my new movies.
Why not?
We haven't even started filming yet, but it's about a very important topic. It's very poignant. It's very, it's a push button right now, is children that are born with autism or Asperger's disease. And, you know, when we were young and growing up, they really didn't even know anything about it.
No, they probably didn't.
And now more and more children are being diagnosed with it. And the whole movie has to do with this young man that has Asperger's and how it impacts his family, his parents, and the world around him.
Really?
And he enjoys and loves trains. He's fascinated by trains. And the name of the film is called Off the Rails.
I have a bad news for you. I have a lot of those AHDDs and CRS. Can't remember. You get it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
But I love trains too. Does that mean I got it?
Well, he actually likes trains because they stay on the tracks, and that's why he is fascinated by trains. And he runs
Really?
away.
Really?
I don't want to give too much of the plot away, but
No.
he runs away, and of course his parents are panicked, and we're searching for him. But the scene that I'd like to read with you
Okay.
has to do with the mother and father fighting over what kind of school would be best for their son.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to see a reading here on the air. And I guess I play James, or shall I be Nora?
No, you can be James,
Can I
my
be
husband.
Nora, please?
I'm Nora, the conflicted mother. And
Oh, all
again,
right.
we want what's best for our son. This is from Off the Rails by Alessandro Girolami. And it's coming out in May, and it's a short film.
That's wonderful.
So this is a very poignant scene where the mother and father are fighting about what type of school would be best for him.
All right, so it takes place in the interior of a living room. Henry is watching cartoons. He is remaining passive. Nora is in the other room doing the dishes, and James comes walking in. They should let him out.
This place could help him.
He can't be labeled like that.
I want what's best for our son.
I want that too.
You saw him this morning at the meeting, squeezing, drifting in and out. This school could help him.
Honey, if you want him in school, fine. Send him to public school. Not this place for people
Like what?
like him.
Like him?
That's not what I meant. Well, this could be a tough movie, boy. That's a very interesting.
Very
set of
dramatic.
Scenes. Very
and,
dramatic.
And again, so many people have a family member that's living with autism or Asperger's, and in various degrees.
Wow.
And I think this is going to be very interesting as a movie, and a great part. Very dramatic, and hopefully it'll bring a lot of attention and awareness to children with autism.
That's pretty interesting. So, aside from this wonderful movie, we've got a picture of you.
Oh.
I just wanted to show the cameras. Which one's on, Tommy? Hang on one second. I'm going to throw this up here for you. And this is a picture and resume, those of you who don't know this, but you should if you're trying to break into this world. And, of course, her resume is as long as a city bus. Oh, my God. The type is so small with this 100,000 things that you've done that I can't even
I should
read
be
it
so
all.
lucky, right?
But I tell you what I do have is a surprise.
Oh, what would that be?
I have one of the commercials you and I did together.
Well, we've done a couple. Which one is it?
We've done the garbage stuff.
Yes, a
We've done the
recycling film for Brookhaven
But
Town.
what we have tonight is the Hamilton Honda commercial.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about controversy.
That's a great one. And they can't run it, or they couldn't run it because of
That's
what was
right.
the reason?
Well, it's kind of controversial, and they'll get, actually, it's hilarious, and we had such a ball making it. It has to do with a car dealership, which is in New Jersey, owned by two former New York Giants football players.
That was right.
And in this commercial, you're going to see Jerry as a customer. And I'm actually a very snarky salesperson.
You were a snarky salesperson.
I'm really mean and not nice to the customers. And you'll see the two owners, or at least one of them, Antonio Pierce, come and tackle me because I'm behaving badly.
And you know what I loved? I loved Dina Parisi's in. A good friend of ours, Dina's Parisi, no relation to me.
And she's a race car driver.
She's a race car driver in real life. That's great. And I must say one more thing, that the day we shot, we had such a good time. We had our friend, the Dodsons were there from ABC. They always lend a fun day. And just watching this whole thing unfold was a lot of fun. My only complaint is I looked fat because I had a fat shirt on.
Oh,
and not only, well, at least I have the brown hair.
That's true. You look totally different now because you've morphed into this, 1800s.
That's because I have to for now.
Right.
But it'll come back, I trust you. Let's watch that commercial.
Okay.
The Hamilton Honda commercial starring Vesta Millard and A Little Piece of Me.
Here at Hamilton Honda, we go the extra mile to make sure that our sales and service team has the skills and the training needed to serve you, the Hamilton Honda customer, better.
While my Honda's getting serviced, do you have a loaner available?
Oh, yes, I'm sure we have one around.
One? We have a fleet of loaner cars for Hamilton Honda customers.
Lean in with your shoulder next time.
Do you have a blue Accord?
Oh, I'm sure we do. Let me just check on that for you.
You don't have to check. We have over 1,000 new cars and 300 pre-owned vehicles in stock.
Now that's not bad.
With work, I can't service my car during the week.
Oh, how about up to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday? Or...
Whoa, whoa!
What the heck happened?
What about Saturday till 6? How about Sunday service? That's right. Every Sunday till 4 p.m. All the time. Woo!
Now that's a good one. Let us exceed your expectations.
Oh, my gosh. Now, nobody got hurt during the filming. I have to preface with that. They had wonderful stunt people. I had
stunt people,
a
great.
little Russian girl that stood in for me.
Oh, my God.
And she took the hits every single time. And so I didn't have to. I just had to lay on the floor for the after effect.
Well, you know what? What blew me away, I mean, honestly, I never worked with a stunt person like that before, the two of them.
Yeah.
And to see her being hurled across the room
Over
20
and over.
feet. Oh, wow. I got to be honest,
New respect for the stunt world, right?
absolutely.
As we're standing by and just watching it all unfold.
Well, the director said to me, he said, Jerry, do me a favor, look surprised. I didn't have to act. I'm like, whoa!
And when you see it, when you see the edited piece, I mean, it's seamless. It really looks
seamless.
like, I was hurt pretty badly. But they pulled it because at the time, there was a lot of football players that were acting out. This is prior to the Super Bowl.
Wow.
And
That'd have been a great Super Bowl commercial. Too.
violence against women. And like I said, this was all fun and games, and it was just in the spirit of like a Saturday Night Live.
We
It
had
was
a
very
great
campy,
time.
and it was a lot of fun.
We had a lot of
So,
fun.
I mean, things like that happen. I mean, that's what, art and life kind of parallel things, and you never know when something like that. But we had a ball making it, and, fond memories, and it may eventually make it on air.
It may make
Let's
it on
hope
the.
it
I
does.
hope so. It certainly will be aired with a little disclaimer on my show on Channel 20 saying it's not
Yes,
It's a
no
commercial.
one was hurt during the filming of this commercial.
No, and no goldfish, no dogs, things like that. No
Everyone's
animals were harmed.
fine. Everyone is fine, and are living to see another day.
And so here's the other thing. We did some other commercials together as husband and wife,
Yes.
which is a very funny thing because the company that works with us actually coined the phrase to us when we were in a supermarket that you guys are going to start being cast as husband and wife everywhere.
Wow.
You fit well.
Like a dynamic duo.
Well, I would wear my Batman.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm kind of dressed it like Wonder Woman. I've got the Wonder Woman boots on, you know.
You know what? I envy the woman. But I thought that was a big honor because I guess they see a chemistry. What's amazing is we had a Facebook picture of the two of us together that everybody went 1,000-something,
Oh, really?
and no one realized it. That
It's a different world now with all of the technology and,
Yeah.
and instantaneous gratification. I mean, actors in the old days had to really pound the pavement, and you did
Oh,
everything,
sure.
you know, you sent everything by snail mail. You know, remember mailing tapes and
I do,
resumes
I
out?
do. Oh,
and
God.
now it's instantaneous. With a click of a button, they've got your resume, they've got your reels, and they're ready to cast. So it's a good thing, I think, really.
Oh, it's a way better way of marketing any actor or model, musician, anybody in the arts that can get out there. It's a great way of doing it.
Yeah.
I don't even know how well pictures and resumes go any longer. The fact that when you go to casting things now, they just sign you in and they go, "We've got your picture
We've
already.
got it all.
We've got it."
And you don't even need to bring those anymore. So, I mean, I don't know if it'll be, you know, with the past, you know, nobody does that anymore.
I remember as a kid, I will never forget it. It would like you every time you did something, you in a way had this dreading feeling because now you had to write it in on the back of your resume or go out and print another 100 of them. And before that 100 pictures and resumes went out, you got another job or two. I got to really do it again.
And now, look at the world of Facebook where parents put their little children on Facebook, you know, hey, look, my baby spit up. He's a star. You know, they're used to being the center of attention for anything and everything they do. So it's almost like a built-in show business gene coming into
Yeah.
play where, you know, in our day, I mean, I think they use that crank projector, you know, and slides.
I just want to remind you, you're probably 30 years younger than I am. There's
No, I'm afraid I'm not, you know,
That's
but
funny.
it's amazing when you see how technology has leapt forward. When I was in radio, I started with records, and actually now they're making a comeback because
I've heard this.
Yes, isn't that something?
Vinyl's really coming back?
It's everything old is new again, and it's
Well, I'm
you know,
new.
yeah, there you go. You just hang in there a few more years. You
Bring
know,
extra
you'll be
credits for me to a
trending.
show. That's the way it works. That's funny. So let me ask you something. When you were on the radio, you did tremendous amount of work. I heard you. Everybody heard you. We never put a picture of your face to the sound.
You know, I kind of enjoyed the anonymity that came with radio and the magic that was theater of the mind. And you were creating everything with the sound of your voice or the songs or the commercials. And now, of course, they have, you know, TVs filming the DJs now. I mean,
That's
you
right.
can just go on the web and you can see everything as it happens, pretty much like we're doing tonight.
You know, it's a funny thing because the Smith Sabatino show is moving forward to that as well. They'll be back on the air, and I can't wait to be with Carl and Roland again. It's a lot of fun. They're funny just in themselves. But I must say, hearing you on the radio growing up, it's a funny thing because who knew who anybody really was? You just flipped on the car radio, and speaking of car radio, it was that time you were on, right?
Yes. I did afternoon drive at one of Long Island's largest radio stations for close to 20 years.
Wow, 20 years.
And you're in a booth and you don't get that one-on-one connection unless you really talk to the listener as a friend. And coming from a theater background, you know, you're used to the applause and you're used to, you kind of feel your way, you get a sense from the audience how you're doing. But on the radio, you don't. You're in a glass booth like a piece of meat, and you just hope that they understand who
Treat
and
me
what
like
you
that
are.
piece of meat.
Yeah, that's it. But I enjoyed it, and now I've turned the page, and I'm on to bigger and better things. And
You are.
Thank
You
you.
seem to be always working, though, always out there. What's some of the advice you can give some of the starlets out there, the young people, and the old people who have come back to it? What is, like, how would you start? How would you get going? Encapsulate that for me, if possible.
Oh, I would say that acting is truth, and you need to find your truth, whatever it is. You might be playing a character that you cannot relate to. Maybe you're doing a villain, but when you get inside the character's head. You've got to see what the truth is for them. And that way they don't become evil. They just become a person that's motivated by whatever for that character. And that has been my biggest challenge, is reinventing myself, baby steps always. And I would say be true to yourself and find your truth in whatever you're doing, that kernel of truth. And also, don't be afraid to take tiny projects, because you'll grow.
Oh, sure.
Monumentally. And sometimes you can't always measure on a monetary reward. Sometimes, like I'm doing these 2 films, I mean, they're not major releases, but just for the experience alone, it's priceless. I'm getting to work with some wonderful people, and I'm stretching and I'm growing as an actress and as a person, as a woman. And that's what I would say to do, is just don't give up on your dream.
Right.
Be true to yourself. I know it sounds cheesy and cliche, but I mean it with all my heart. And that is what is the most important thing. Hold your course true to what you want to do. Don't give up your focus, and don't give up in general.
You know, it's so important you say that to so many people, because one of the pieces of advice I've always given people is don't let people drag you down.
Oh, boy.
And
The haters, the naysayers.
There are that. And
Absolutely.
I have to be honest, I never really heard the word haters until I started realizing what was going on in place. I do have about 2 or 3 haters out there, I'm finding out.
And because of the internet, they have a way to reach you.
Yeah,
They have a
I'm
way
like,
to get to you.
wow.
You know, in the old days, you know, if you would get some fan mail and you would
Right.
choose to read it or not, you
Right.
could throw it away. But now, the whole world has access to everyone and everything.
They do.
With a click of a mouse. So they have a way to vent and get out their ire and their anger on you. You know, a lot of the people are ignorant, or, you know, they just need a platform to speak.
I'm glad you said it that way. They need a platform to speak. You know, in just using and drawing on your tremendous reference background, what does one do when you find out there is such a bad apple in the crowd that's actually spinning the opposite way that you want him to spin for you?
Well, you know, it's funny because when I was on the radio, I was stalked by a deranged fan for
Wow.
close to 12 years.
Really?
Yeah, and this was before the internet, but you know, he was very persistent, and he was, I guess I can say, insane. You know, he wasn't right mentally, and I had to take matters into my own hands because back in the 90s, there were no laws on the books about stalking, about harassment. And if there were anything that I could use, it was a misdemeanor only. This was before stalking became it's a felony. I mean, for a repeated offender. So I had to pass a law which invariably helped me and also other women that were stalked or have been stalked. And in my case, it was by a fan. It wasn't an abusive relationship with a domestic partner or an ex-boyfriend. This was someone I had never met. And he became convinced that not only were we living together, but I had had a child by him. And this was a fantasy world that he was living in. So I worked with Assemblywoman Patricia Eddington, Senator John Flanagan, and we passed a bill to strengthen the laws and help stalking victims. So I'm very proud of that. I mean, if I do nothing else, then at least I can say I've strengthened some laws in New York State. And I'd like to see a national approach to this, because you know we live in such an amazing country, and there's 50 little states, and they're kind of like 50 little countries. Every state has its own laws, and nothing really syncs together. And I think that we should take a look at what laws are on the books and maybe make a national approach to women and men that are put in danger and in jeopardy by someone that's a little too overzealous.
You know, it's first of all, I sit here very, very humbled and that's not easy to do for me. There's only a few handful of people that get humbled by me. But you are one of those people that really, I must say, I'm blown away by. I didn't even know that you did that, and you are so driven. And I think that's what I think that people see about you. You're driven, and you don't stop. And that's, I don't stop.
I got angry, and anger was the fuel that launched this campaign that I helped to spearhead.
Wow.
When something's not working, you have 2 choices. You can either get rolled over by it, or you can do something to change it. So this is a part of my life that was a very interesting chapter, and I'm glad to have moved on from. But the law stands. So I'm happy to have helped local legislature to toughen the laws. I mean, it's one thing I'm very proud of. And thank you for letting me speak about it.
No. This is exactly the platform the Filmmakers Show is about. The reality is I like to bring people on the show that just don't do film or don't just do modeling. Michelle Sharduli, we just had her on the show. Look what she and her father do to all the filmmakers.
That's amazing.
They have a tremendous warehouse full of non-profit things that if you go to them, they're going to help you, and they're not going to steer you wrong.
And I think young filmmakers need that.
They
need
do.
an outlet. They need a way to make their dreams and their visions come true. And that's a perfect way to do it. And she's an amazing lady.
It is. And the other things I bring onto my show are people not involved in the movie or TV industry. They might be in the music industry or some of the other things that go on. Invariably, if you put it under the creative umbrella of a human, it's either going to be art, music, or filmmaking, which all of it is an art in the end, just different variations of it.
Right, and it's a broad spectrum too.
Right.
But you're the outlet, you're the conduit that people can come on and chat with you and tell their stories. And that's the human element. That's what transcends everything. And that it comes into play for acting as well. You know, it's something that we all relate to on planet Earth as humans.
It's true.
Emotion.
But the tremendous benchmark you put on there for women to be able to stand their ground better when things happen, and men too.
It's amazing to think it hasn't even been 100 years since women got the vote. When you talk to your grandparents, and that's what I always tell kids to do as well, learn about their lives.
Oh, sure.
Learn about their memories and their experiences, because that can help you as an actor as well. So, I mean, it's very important.
It's what I do with the seniors every Sunday. I sit, I try to listen to them. I try to put some sort of a smile on their face by saying something irrevocably stupid. But they tend to love it, and I do my little stand-up routines. I take them to church. But one of the most important things I do is I hear them, and I'm really saddened for people. I got to say, I feel like I could turn the world and just resurface it, because so many people regret not doing what they should have done, or they were taught, or they were put in a box as a kid. Now you got to do this. This is the way it works.
Oh boy.
I really, really hate more and more hearing that. It's like, get out of my way. I want to go 90 in a 65-mile-an-hour zone. You're going 40.
Sure.
And you want to push. You only live 100 short years, if that much.
Yes, if that.
If that on this earth. So go after what you want to do, and don't let anybody tell you you can't do it.
And the history of our country, when you think of how incredible America is.
There you go.
And what it was like when our grandparents were growing up. It was a different world. I mean, even before television. And you know, you went to the movies. That was the only form of escaping back then. And it's interesting to see how history parallels the art form. You know, how comedies were very big in the Great Depression.
Sure.
And you know, it's very fascinating to delve into it. And what better way than with living, talking, breathing history, your ancestors.
Wow, wow. So Vesta, before we go, if there are any casting directors out there or any people who would want to use your talents, or mine too.
There you go, quick plug.
Quick plug.
Hey.
How would we best find you as an actress?
Through my website, which is vestavox.com. That's my name, Vesta, V-E-S-T-A, Vox, V-O-X.com. And that is simply Latin for voice. So it translates to Vesta's voice.
Wow.
And it's a very nice website. I'm very proud of it. So
Vestavox.com.
That's me.
Did you know the Beatles played out of Vox amplifiers?
Yeah, I mean, Vox is voice.
Voice.
And there's a lot of Voxes out there. Yeah.
That's so funny. Well, I got to thank you. Tonight was not only a great education, a quick little, doing of a scene. You got to talk to people about you, but you've changed laws. I have to tell you that I'm blown away.
Well, thank you. And it was a delight to be here. It's fun to enter the Madhouse TV. So much going on, so many shows.
So many shows. I got to tell you. And I say thank you at the end of every show, and I might as well just throw it in right now. So to Tommy Marr, Tom Mealy, Jeanette Zerilli, and Vicki Mealy, I say thank you to the producers of my show, because without those four, I couldn't be here, and don't ever forget it.
Well, thank you for having me, and continued success in all endeavors.
Thank
Hope to be working with you again on the big screen or little screen soon.
I'm pretty positive you will be.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone, for watching the Filmmakers Show. I'm Jerry Parisi. Join us next week for some more fascinating guests, different topics, and things to open your eyes. Good night, everybody.